Season 5 has definitely been the most controversial season since the launch of Overwatch. There's a whole bunch of content creators, including myself, making videos talking about the toxicity levels increasing, how trollers and throwers aren't getting penalized, and then the biggest issue, which is the side of the player base that no longer cares about what they play in game. They're basically the people that just pick whatever they want every game and they say not a single word the entire match. I believe counterproductive is probably the best word to describe it. So, counterproductive is definitely the best word to describe Season 5. You see, my main account, Nateson, usually hangs in mid-master, but this season it's been more like 34-3500, kind of falling in and out of master. So I had to change the way I was approaching this season, and the changes I made it so that I've kept my master title, and I'm very close to breaking my career high. So I'll tell you what I did. So we're going to be a little brutal here. And the first one is not going to be easy to talk about. The first topic is filling. And you know, I've talked about filling in the past, and I say that I'm always the person that's willing to fill for the team. I don't mind if I have to play tank a certain game, even though I'm not that great at it. But at the same time, you do have to keep in mind how if you're not great at something, you shouldn't even fill on it. Well, I've really taken that into mind as of late, where it has gotten to the point where I no longer play tank. No matter what happens, I don't play tank. So I'm looking at my career profile, I'm looking at my Diva and Winston stats. Clearly, those are the two heroes being played basically every single game this season, as they fit perfectly into the dive comp meta. My win rates with both of them have a hard time keeping 40%. So, why would I bother filling if I know I'm going to lose the game? And that's the first change I made. I stopped playing tank completely. I'll fill healer as Zenyatta every once in a while, but you may hate on me if you wish, but I started locking DPS almost every game, not swapping, and I'm winning my matches. And now this brings me to my second point, and a lot of you I'm sure are already doing this, and that is, I never solo queue. And I'm talking, I've maybe solo queued one time in the past month. I'm either a part of a duo queue or a trio queue, no matter what. And this is to combat the toxic and counterproductive players that are currently flooding the ladder. And there's a special way you have to look at this, because it's not as simple as just queuing up with another random good player on your friends list. It goes a little bit deeper than that. So when I mean deeper than that, I'm talking about you're not going to want to queue up with two other DPS players when you're a DPS player yourself. Because this season, half my games are 3 or 4 DPS players, 1 tank, 1 healer. So why would we do a 3 queue or a duo queue of only DPS players? It's just really not that smart. You can kind of get away with it with duo queue, it's fine. But when you're doing trio queue and you're all Genji, McCree, Soldier players or Tracer, you know, whatever, it's not really gonna work, and it sucks because you're gonna have 3 other randoms that are gonna all want to play DPS as well. So here's what you should do, and here's what I did. You need to start queuing with people that either play a healer or a tank, and in specific, if you have someone that plays Winston or Diva and they're really good at those heroes, always, and I mean always, queue with them. I mean, it's getting to the point where, well, okay, first off, you remember back in the day when I was like duo with the Zarya player, every single time duo with the good Zarya player, and that was great advice, and that's what I did, and that's how I got my career high. It's at 3750, by the way. But times have changed. If you know someone that's really good at Diva or really good at Winston, you need to be playing with them right now, because that's who's winning games. If you look at the win rates on the really good Diva and Winston players, we're talking like 60+ win percent every single time. Just because it fits in the meta, it's what's dominating right now, play with them. And also, since we're in this healer crisis out of nowhere, where we used to find Mercy mains every other game, and now it's like a desert. The Mercy main desert. There's no one playing healer anymore, because again, we're in the season of everyone picking DPS. If you have someone that plays healer and that's really good at it, queue with them. And so when you queue with someone that plays support and someone that plays tank, you never have to worry about your issues with your team comp, because all of your randoms can go DPS, and then I'll just say for me, I'll be the DPS as well. And so when you trio queue as, let's just say for example, for you, because it's me, as a DPS player, you have your friend on tank who's really good, and you have your friend on support who's really good, you're really never going to look at a team comp issue again, because your randoms are just going to go all DPS. And if they do happen to want to play healer or tank, and that's cool, having your second tank, finally, someone that's going to go second tank in this meta, when you're automatically queuing with a tank player and a support player, you're not going to have to worry about what your teammates are playing, because you've already figured it all out. And so before I close out this video, I just want to add one more thing to my last point, and that is when you're looking for players to play with, so you found your healer player and you found your tank player, when you're in that vetting, quote unquote vetting process, looking for people to play with, make sure they are not someone who triggers easily. I mean, if you're playing with some sort of top 500 smurf and you really don't care because you're going to win the game no matter what, then, you know, I guess that's different. But clearly we're not all going to find someone like that. You're just playing with average people around your rank. Play with people that don't tilt, aren't yelling at teammates, because that's just going to cost you games left and right. Make sure the people that you're willing to play with are very cool and level-headed. So these are really the changes I made this season. Of course, the absolute biggest one being the fact that I no longer fill tank, and it has instantly turned my games around. And I'm talking instantly turned my games around. And so if that's you on healer, don't play healer. If it's like me and you're terrible at tanks, don't play tanks. Even if you need the tank, if you have 0 tanks, you on tank doesn't mean you win. I think back in the Reinhardt days, it may have been a little bit different, but on these dive comp days, where I just don't know what's wrong with me, why I'm so terrible at Winston and Diva, I'm just scratching it all out, and you should too. Play what you're good at, and never force anything on anyone, because they could be super uncomfortable on that role, and it could just result in another loss, and nobody wants that. So I hope you guys found this video very helpful. If any of you changed something to the way you were approaching this season, and it worked for you, leave it in the comments below, because I would love to see what some of you guys are doing to climb the ladder in such a toxic mess. I will be live streaming tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so I hope to see some of you there, and I hope you all have a great rest of the night. Take care, everybody. See ya.